There's a calm after the riot in Washington, D.C. Crews cleaning up the damage at the Capitol building, left behind when a mob forced its way inside, breaking windows to gain entry. The cost of the damage has not been calculated. Just hours after the mob entered their workplace, Congress completed the business of the day, certifying Joe Biden as the next president of the United States.
And so now the work begins into finding out how and why the mob was able to get access inside the Capitol building in the first place.
WGN's Eric Rung is live in Washington, D.C. with more on that. Eric.
Good evening. Yeah, there are a lot of questions on just how the rioters were able to get into the Capitol today around the U.S. Capitol. It was incredible. It was very quiet, very peaceful. The National Guard here did erect a 7-foot fence around the Capitol, but as I said, relatively no trouble here to speak of. Still, the mayor of D.C. as well as the president-elect called what happened yesterday domestic terrorism. This afternoon, members of the National Guard erected a fence on the perimeter of the U.S. Capitol grounds. The overwhelming feeling of those who wanted to take a look at the Capitol today was, why wasn't it there yesterday?
I'm just astonished that something like this would happen, especially in the U.S.
It was something we have not seen in this country in our lifetime. Trump supporters, egged on by the president to march to the Capitol, clashed violently with police and stormed the Capitol building. Lawmakers there to certify President-elect Joe Biden's win were evacuated. Rioters soon found their way into the Senate chamber, the Speaker's office as well. They were held by gunpoint in the House. Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger has called for the president's removal by supporting the use of the 25th Amendment.
But what we saw yesterday just has really stressed the importance of making sure that we're well managed, we're well led, because our adversaries overseas can take advantage of any kind of chaos at any time.
One woman was shot and killed by Capitol Police. More than 70 people were arrested. D.C. National Guard members, along with D.C. police and police from surrounding states, helped get the situation under control. Today, D.C.'s mayor blamed the president for the violence and called for an investigation into why there was such a catastrophic failure to protect the Capitol. But that's not all she's asking for, and she made a reference to past Black Lives Matter protests.
We must also understand why the federal law enforcement response was much stronger at the protest over the summer than during yesterday's attack on Congress.
The president did post a video on Twitter yesterday asking people to go home, but also repeated lies about winning the election. Finally, after lawmakers cemented President-elect Biden's win, Mr. Trump issued a statement through a spokesperson admitting that there would be a transfer of power come January 20th. The president-elect today also put the blame on President Trump for inciting his supporters. He called it one of the darkest days in American history and made sure not to call those who stormed the Capitol protesters.
They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists.
Trump supporters were back at the Capitol this afternoon, but in much smaller numbers and for the most part kept peacefully to themselves, talking about what happened. They have their own theories on who's to blame, but the bottom line is it did nothing to change the results of the election.
In the end, democracy prevailed. They certified Biden's election.
The White House press secretary a short time ago went to the podium over at the White House and read a short statement. Now a full 24 hours after the attack on the Capitol happened. It was very short, not even 2 minutes long. In it, she said the entire White House does condemn what happened here at the Capitol yesterday. Also, the Capitol Police out with a statement today. However, it did not address the catastrophic failures of securing the building. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, has called for him to be fired. We're live at the U.S. Capitol. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
All right, Eric, thank you. Well, today, Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao became the first member of the president's cabinet to resign. In a statement, she said, watching the mob storm the Capitol has left her deeply troubled in a way she could not set aside. Chao is the wife of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, former Chief of Staff and envoy to Northern Ireland Mick Mulvaney, also resigning. Leaving as well, Deputy National Secretary Advisor Matthew Pottinger and the First Lady's Chief of Staff Stephanie Grisham yesterday. Officials believe more resignations could be on